one particular news article from July 15th, 1934 as a Raleigh Register, talking about a monstrous beast of some sort being seen in the Fireco area and into the Odd, West Virginia area, which was kind of a weird coincidence to have a town called Odd.
Odd, yeah.
Well, anyway, there wasn't a, I guess there wasn't a real definite description of the animal, or being, beast, whatever you want to call it, other than it ranged anywhere from 2 to 4 feet tall and 6 to 10 feet long.
Ultraviolet purple, I call it just the purple monster, and so that'll get me going on this big day. It's gonna be a lot of fun, guys. I'm really excited because I'm heading up to Beckley, West Virginia, and I'm gonna meet up with Les Odell, who is one of the foremost Bigfoot researchers in West Virginia and in America. Actually, he's written a book. He's appeared on several, YouTube video stations or TV shows like Small Town Monsters, and I'm flattered that he's going to meet me up here, and we're going to investigate the Fireco Monster. Should be a good time. So Fireco is an old coal mining town. It was back in the 30s when some, I guess, old coal miners or people that lived in the area, they saw this creature crawling around through the coal camp, and didn't know what it was. They said it had some hair, but it was long, like 10 feet long, and would crawl. So then here recently, there's been a few more sightings. So it's very curious, and so I contacted Les Odell and I asked him, I said, hey, do you want to go investigate this Fireco Monster with me? And so Les said, yeah, he would meet me up here. So that's what we're going to do today, and it's going to be, it's interesting. Very interesting. So we'll see what we can find. So guys, here's the legend himself, Les Odell, and his buddy Danny, and who's been in a couple of his videos, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been in a couple of videos, a couple of adventures, double West expeditions.
Yeah, this is a real treat for me to finally meet these guys.
Stories about it being passed around, but the majority of the story origin basically come from like a pissed off ram that used to run around, and then they got the story, you know, sheep squatch. It turned into that. So I don't know. I don't know about that one. Yeah, same as out west where they have bat squatch, where Bigfoot's supposed to have bat wings and flies out in, it's like out in Oregon or something.
Oh wow.
I don't know about that either.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
Bat Squatch have a sidekick, Robin Squatch?
This guy's, he's full of jokes, ain't he? He's telling us about the Poke Gap Monster.
The Poke Gap Monster is a Bigfoot type creature. It's been sighted along Twin Falls, in the Twin Falls area in Wyoming County. It's been decades, for decades it's been sighted. There's a guy that lives in that area, used to be like a senator or something, or congressman, I can't remember. His name was Bug Stovers. He recorded or documented several sightings over the years down in that area. So I've always wanted to talk to him, but I never got a chance to get a hold of him. But I've always wanted to be in that area and check it out. Dana and I actually have a friend that lives in there that says she has activity on her property.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
that's cool.
Danny's been there and checked it out.
That's where I have my sighting.
Yeah. Was it?
In Wyoming County.
Okay.
And
tell me about that.
I've only been doing this myself since last April.
It's a strange sighting.
It's a strange sighting, yeah. Very.
Well, first he's like,
very weird.
At first, I'll let him tell his story, but when he told me about it, I said, "Are you sure what you're telling me is what happened?" Because he started out, "I had a dream," and I'm like, "Are you sure?" And then he started going on about it.
Right.
I was at the farm, and I was by myself, and I just had a tent set up in the middle of the farm. And it was kind of foggy and rainy that night, so there wasn't a whole lot of activity. Some stuff at the family cemetery. So I went back to my tent, and I thought I'd lay down about 11 o'clock and then wake up. And then about 2:30, all of a sudden, I just opened my eyes and looked up. I had the vents open on my tent, and there was something standing there about 7.5, 8 foot tall, about 4 foot wide, reddish looking hair, and had yellow like eyes. And I thought I was dreaming, so I shook my head and blinked my eyes, and then it was gone. And then the next weekend I went back to get my stuff, and my friend went with me, and we found a place about 10, 15 feet from my tent where it had been standing. I guess, thinking that it might have been standing there watching me. It had trampled some grass, and we found a couple of footprints in the gravel.
And this was after he called me and said, "Hey, I was at the property," and you on your channel you was talking about the picture that I did with AI.
Yeah.
Well, that's from this property.
Right.
And he's like, "Yeah, I had a dream that I was in the tent, and I looked out the tent, and I could see this thing standing." He said, and I just wasn't there, and he said, "I just went back, thought I was dreaming, and I guess went back to sleep." And I'm like, "Are you sure you were sleeping? Or are you sure you were dreaming?"
Right.
And then he went back down, and that's when he found what looked like prints and stuff near the tent.
Right. So when you saw, or you thought you saw him, or you're pretty sure you did, what did you do then? Did you go back to sleep?
I shrugged it off for a second, and I went back to sleep. And the next morning I woke up, went around the tent, and you could see where the gravel had been messed up, but you couldn't see a whole lot because it was still wet and my tent was in the way. But whenever I went back the next week and my tent wasn't there, you could see where something had walked up the path of a pile of gravel behind my tent.
That kind of remember, was it Les O'Dell that had that, not Les O'Dell, Les Stroud. And didn't he have like a dream of something pressing on him or something like that?
When he was out with Todd Stanley, he was up on that mountain, and he had a dream that something was pushing him down and holding him down. And then the next morning he got up, and that's when certain things have been moved around the camp and stuff.
Right.
But what's weird about that is you also hear that in paranormal stuff, the old hike syndrome and stuff, where something will hold you down and keep you from moving, and which a lot of people attribute it to the sleep paralysis and stuff like that. Or, when you're in that hypnagogic state and you wake up, or you're awake, your mind's awake, but your body's not basically not functioning. Right. So, but it's weird that that you tie that into a Bigfoot story. I mean,
Yeah.
so that's where sometimes I'm wondering, are some of these things that's happening actually Bigfoot related, or is there a different phenomenon that's going on? Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff you can actually, when you look into it, you know, things that happen, circumstances that happen, you can definitely attribute it to an animal. You know, the things they do, the characteristics they have, and then the other ones you can't. So is it something else going on, and people just say it's Bigfoot related because that's what's in their lexicon, and they just basically know how to relate it, or that's how they relate what happened to them. Is because Bigfoot's become such a figure in pop culture now. Everybody knows. Everybody knows about it, and it's growing and growing. I'll listen to every type of account and story. Because I can eventually maybe I can separate. The paranormal side to the, I guess, flesh and blood, like everybody said. Maybe it's something completely different, but everybody just wants to lump it in, start lumping it in together. And then there's people that won't listen to one side or the other.
Right.
They're in the flesh and blood camp or paranormal camp or but I think you have to listen to all, because eventually you'll probably might be able to figure out that maybe we're not talking about the same thing all the time.
After meeting and talking at Tamarack and telling some stories there, Les and I went over to Bob Evans in Beckley, and we had lunch. And there's some great, great stories that Les told, but the music in there was so loud, I couldn't put it in this video. So what I'm going to do is just put his story onto my Patreon page, and you can check it out there. All right, that was one of the most interesting lunches I've ever had, and man, I'll tell you what, Les has a wealth of knowledge about Bigfoot and cryptids and paranormal things, because he's researched this for a long time. He's just a smart guy. So that was great. Bob Evans, good time. And now we're heading on to Fireco. This is one squatchy looking place. Monster, Fireco Monster, or maybe Bigfoot Monster. Les and I didn't realize that we actually were in Fireco, but we decided we were going to head up this dirt road. And when we get up there, we'll see a cemetery. We do some walking around, as you'll see in just a minute. But then we finally realized, because we get signal, GPS signal again, that we were in Fireco, and we head back down the mountain towards Fireco. Oh, I know. I wasn't thinking either.
I should have printed off everything that we needed.
Well, usually, like if I would,
That's a second. Look at the size of these tracks.
good Lord.
Look at that.
Is that a dog or is that like a?
Oh, there's claws on it. It's a big dog. Look at it. There's going down through there too.
Jeez, that is huge dog. Yeah, it does have claws. Look at that.
Yeah, it's a big. Look how wide. Look how far wide they are.
I know.
That's one. That's one. And then,
That is a huge dog.
yeah. Nice. The cemetery's up here.
So we think we passed the town. We'll have to go back, but now we think there's a cemetery up here. It said Fireco Cemetery, didn't it? There are a lot of trees from that storm. I just heard a dog bark way back, like way back.
There's that one chases down there in town.
He's still after us.
Probably.
I couldn't get my camera out, but I was like, dang, I need to film that.
I had to finally just mash on it and go.
Yeah,
I thought he was gonna bite my wheel and hang on.
I know. You hear that?
Yeah, it's down there.
The hound dog.
Something sounds like it.
Listen, hang on just a sec. While we're here, Les, let me just ask you, you've done a little bit of research and I haven't been able to find a lot, and you were telling me you haven't been able to find a lot on it either. So just tell me what your thoughts are on the Fireco Monster.
Well, like you said, there's not a whole lot out there. It all seems to stem from one particular news article from July 15th, 1934 as a Raleigh Register, talking about a monstrous beast of some sort being seen in the Fireco area and into the Odd, West Virginia area, which is kind of a weird coincidence to have a town called Odd.
Odd, yeah.
Well, anyway, there wasn't wasn't a real definite description of the animal, or being, beast, whatever you want to call it, other than it ranged anywhere from 2 to 4 feet tall and 6 to 10 feet long. Not,
Yep.
you know, not the other way, you know, not
Right.
wide and high or wide and tall, but long and tall. But in the article, it talks about this thing, I guess, having enough power to rip the heads off of hogs, you know, with one
Right.
swoop, with one bite or whatever, and claws at the end of, not quite like feet. They didn't have quite feet. It had like nubs. I guess they'd say, like rounded nubs. They had claws on it that could tear up sections of the ground that weighed 50 pounds. So to me, that's pretty massive.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm not sure. I mean, if you read into it, there's a couple places that's more of a newer, like write-ups on it. I don't know where they got their information.
Yeah.
Maybe I was able to find something a little deeper, or there was a lady, I assume she's still alive because I found the name on Facebook, that wrote an article several years ago and collected several different stories and sightings. Maybe that's where they got their information, but
Yeah.
but the only other description is people said it looked like a huge, or like a long centipede with like up to 50 legs.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah, that's what, like, okay, that's very, very strange. And but then there has been recent sightings. Is that what you're talking about now?
well,
like of something up here.
they said there's in a couple of those writings and articles, they said that people in the area claim that there's still some strange things that happen. I don't know if they're attributing that to the Fireco Monster or just other strange things happening. Because the creature itself.
I left my camera in my car, so I came back and then put my keys down and picked my camera up. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. And so now Les is he wants to explore the rest of this road, see if there's actually a cemetery up here or something. We've been exploring this whole area, and we're gonna find out from this guy right here.
And when it was walking through the trees, it's so dark I couldn't see like my hand from my face. And it was walking through the trees, and when it was walking through the trees right there, it wasn't hitting the limbs. And all you could hear is it was the fall of the year during the squirrel season, and it was hitting. You could hear the leaves. That's how you could tell it was 2 feet. Well, it was so dark that I had to take my right foot, hit the side of the asphalt, so I know that I wasn't walking. You know, walk into something you couldn't see nothing.
Right.
Wow.
But it could see, and it was on 2 feet. I never did see what it was, but it started coming out. There's 2-story houses up here. The 2-story houses started coming out of the woods right there, and I could see from the street lights down through there, and that's when I broke for a run. I wasn't about 15. And I knew it was something that I couldn't deal with.
Yeah.
So you're
Wow.
It was on 2 feet, and I mean, how in the world without a flashlight he could see all them limbs?
now
That's
the
true.
older stories talk about it being that I've heard other ones like you're talking about it being a bipedal creature of some sort. You know, because you hear about that also up in up around the Mill Falls area and stuff like that. But the original Flatwoods or the Fireco Monster stories, they said it was something that looked like had maybe even like a weird story, like a dragon type thing, like a centipede thing, had 50 legs and had long claws on the end of each foot that could tear up the 50 pounds worth of ground at one time, you know, with each claw.
This is what I was told. I wasn't told by the older people. My grandpa, like you said, he was born 1902 or
Okay.
1901. But he never did talk about it because he's quiet. But the thing I'm getting at is that I heard it was real short,
Okay.
real short, and real strong, and it had legs and arms. And they seen it. It used to try to steal chickens and stuff like that to eat.
Yeah, kill livestock.
And, yeah, livestock, pigs or anything. And they said they used to do that. But I'll tell you another thing, and I did see it. When the water was so deep up here, there was a woman. This is a ghost.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But there was a woman. You know how they dressed in black dresses back
Right.
years ago? I mean, back probably in the early 1800s or something. But the water was up, and her baby, or one of her babies or something, her kid or whatever, fell into the water. She dove in after it, both of them drowned. But the point of it is, it's the highest I've ever seen water in my life, and I seen that. I said, yeah. And I was about 19 then. And it come up on you, it was cold as ice. This holler right here, Bud Weeks is dead now. He was a real good fella. Everybody liked him. But that there, when he lived up Willie Bed, there used to be a sawmill years ago. And you could sit on his porch and hear that sawmill running.
Cool.
Wow.
Like a phantom noise.
You know what he told me? I used to sit there and sit and talk to him. I like to hear old people tell stories.
Yeah.
And I used to sit down on his porch and talk to him up Hollywood. And he used to say, listen, I swear you could hear it. And it wasn't no sawmill nothing.
Right.
But I'll tell you, there's a lot in here. But
Yeah, that's
I'll
crazy.
tell you what now, I've been here all my life because we lived at Coal City. My grandparents lived here, this old house. And we lived here for years I've been here like down in Fireco probably all my life. We was down there every day. But that's the only thing I've ever seen is that right there. Other than that, I've never seen nothing else. But just that the one thing you couldn't see in the dark.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know how it could see, and it was on 2 legs.
Yeah.
It's walking in the leaves, but when I stop, it would stop.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
something.
I've had that happen to me too.
But well, Freddie Sears had done him like that. Freddie told me, which Freddie's probably in his 70s now, and he was a young man or young kid or a teenager, and he said it done him on the same mountain. But I haven't seen it since. I wasn't, getting scared. I'd come across that mountain even time after time. But it did start coming out of the woods on me right there at them 2-story houses where you pull up there be on your right going out here. You see them 2-story houses.
Yeah.
It started coming out of the woods right there.
I tell you what, it was great hanging with Les, and we're gonna wrap this up right now, but this was a really good day, and then talking to the people that we talked was outstanding.
Yeah, that to me, getting out and doing this stuff, that's the fun part. Looking into the legends, but we didn't learn a whole lot about the legend, but we learned a whole lot about the history of this town. And some of the people, and to me that's a big part of why I do this stuff.
Yeah, I agree. That was awesome, and pleasure meeting you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
It was awesome. So we'll do it again. So
absolutely,
somewhere, somehow.
Maybe we'll do the go down to the what was one I told you earlier?
In April,
the other monsters. And we got Polecat Monster, and we got the Oceana Monster.
Oceana.
Yeah, the Oceana
That
Monster.
sounds good. You just holler at me. We'll go find some monsters. Hey guys, thanks for watching. One thing we did after we went to Fireco is we went over to the old Fireco coal mine company store, which is now owned by a gentleman named Coon, and we talked to him. And there'll be a short video about that because Coon tells us some good tales and then shows us the old Fireco company store. So it'll be pretty cool. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. And you know what? Always keep it squatching.